Alright guys, let's see what we can get into with this. Like we're about to show our hand, expel all the secrets. There's so much that went into this film and that I'm already like, oh my god, are we gonna talk about that? Are you gonna know about that? So let's see what happens. We're just gonna have a good time. We're watching Trying. Y'all are gonna get a little behind the scenes look, behind the scenes action. Yeah, let's do it. Oh, opening shot. So that's that book that you see on the bottom of the stack, Game 7 Dead Ball, written by Alan Schatz. If you recognize that name from the credits, that is our executive producer. That is his book. That was his one request to make it into the film. That is a real unemployment pamphlet from my own records from many years ago when I quit one of my serving jobs. If you watch the behind the scenes video where my boyfriend Mike shot some video on set, you can actually see how many of the Trying team members were in Meg's apartment as we were shooting, because it's funny seeing how much we shot of me alone, because we were literally cramming 20 of us either in a car or in an apartment. Chaos at any given moment. I would turn, it was oh hey, what's up guys? Or turn, oh someone's hiding down there. So Meg was alone, but she was never really alone. That shot, the coffee mug being put into the coffee maker, was an insert that my boyfriend Mike and I shot here in our apartment. There are a couple of pickups that we did in the opening sequence and the ending sequence because, fun fact, well, these are all fun facts, when we shot this scene specifically, it was at the end of day 1 and we were crunched for time, guys. We had just found out that we had to be out of our location. I think it was 3 or 4 hours earlier than we had originally anticipated. So we had to shoot all the things you see of me inside the apartment. Again, the opening and then the very final scene were shot in, I think it was 2 hours. Because we also had to clean up the whole place. Our production designer, Drea, did an incredible job, and there's some even pieces that you don't see in the film of spaces that she literally transformed in the apartment to make it Meg's space, and she did so great. The apartment was truly unrecognizable. I was blown away. So we had to actually break all of that down and clean all of that up in the time that we had before we had to be out of the location. It was insane. So a lot of these shots were one take. It was just me running around the apartment and doing the entire sequence. It was insane. Oh yeah, so I was saying that shot of the coffee cup insert, that was my boyfriend Mike and I. We did that. It was not a kitchen, but you never would have known. That little peacock art piece that you saw in the corner, that was made by Jennifer Charlie, one of the artists who made the art for the film. I talk about that in the ADHD video if you want to check that out. As well as the other paintings that you kind of see around Meg's apartment were made by artist Chastity Ramsey, who also has ADHD, and made some other paintings in the film. So go to that video to watch that stuff. Oh my god, you guys, I'm gonna keep stopping every 3 seconds. There's so much. First off, the toothbrush that you see in my mouth, we did a couple takes. We did have enough time for me to at least go through the apartment more than once. So the toothbrush that you see in my mouth, when I had to swing around once the toothpaste dripped on my blazer, not once, but twice flew out of my mouth and onto the ground while we were shooting. And like I said, we had 0 time to shoot. So what did I do? Not once, but twice. I picked the toothbrush back up and I put it back in my mouth, and we kept going with the take. Commitment? I don't know. Disgusting habits, maybe more of that. Oh, and that toothpaste strip was also an insert that my boyfriend Mike and I shot. It was not my spit. It was not my spit. It was dish soap, toothpaste, and water that I had mixed up in a little cup and got a little eyedropper that I have like this bougie like face cream that I use. I like rinsed that out and used the eyedropper, and I held it above my blazer to just like boop and get that drip because we weren't able to get really a lot of inserts on the day when we were shooting. So most of the close-up inserts you see were pickups. So those are my real platforms. That cowbell, I'm obsessed. When we were shooting this, like thank God I wrote the script because I knew what was happening, like what the next thing in the sequence was. There were so many steps. I was afraid I was gonna forget something when we were going through, but you know, it was like fairly natural, but it was a lot to remember. So even just watching it now, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe like we like ran around and like shot that because there were just so many things that we had to get. Oh, did you see that tiny little piece of paper that was on the on the coffee table that was covering the keys? That was an art piece done by yours truly. So all the art was done by artists, obviously, but there was a night where I wanted to be a little method and I was like making some art as Meg, so it wasn't perfect, it was just really, you know, just a small little piece, but I wanted to paint something and then it made it into the final cut, so it's whatever. That trip was not scripted. Wait, did you see when the door closed? I always hope it's too fast you don't notice, but on the door there's that little like child lock, like white like door handle cover. The apartment, my friend Trixie, mwah, thank you Trixie, who lent us her apartment for the day, was so generous. She has a toddler, so her lock's on everything. So also not scripted, me trying to get out the door. It's fine, just blink, you miss it.
Yeah, usually when the gas light comes on, it's time to put in gas.
This scene was inspired by real life experiences. I have not once, not twice, I couldn't even count. On my way to work, like on my way to shoots, not this shoot, but I've ran out of gas, y'all, like, cause I thought I had enough gas. So it's more common than you think. Our first assistant director, Marilyn Flores, her boyfriend made that gas sponsored ad. It looked so perfect.
What?
The picture, is it a goose?
Oh. No, it's a swan.
That is my car, and that is a giant gash on my bumper that someone did to me. It was not my fault, just so everybody knows. Someone hit me. Someone hit me.
Sorry, am I sure that the painting that I painted is a swan? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That was improvised. So was that.
And the fact that Natalie Portman would never play goose.
Any shots you see of Tyler and I both in the shot talking to each other, those were actual like shots of the two of us. But for my close-ups, Tyler actually wasn't there. So we shot this scene. This is actually the first scene that we shot on the first day, and this is also in the dead of summer. So all of these scenes it was very hot. Like this scene we were able to shoot, you know, kind of early in the day. And because it was an outdoor scene, we obviously had to depend on sunlight for our lighting. So our incredible gaffer, Marcy Garcia, was great just with like lighting the actual scenes and working with what we had. As it got later in the day, the sun, you know, kept creeping up and up and up, and so we actually weren't able to use most of the footage that we shot on the first day, which was like a total bummer. We ended up having to shoot another half day, so we shot 2.5 days, and on the third day was when we got a lot of the footage for this. So a lot of the close-up shots that we got was me just talking to nobody, just getting lines fed to me. That worked, but whew.
I used to have a pet goldfish myself.
Improvised. In the script, the scene ended with a clipboard bit, but in post it just didn't work, and we had gotten that line from Tyler on the day that he improvised. We thought was super funny, so that made it into the final cut. Can we just look at this little llama. I'm not sure if it's a llama or an alpaca, but Drea Monzon, our production designer, sourced, you can't see it, but the back seat, there's trash and shawls and bags and just like all this Meg stuff everywhere.
Nothing. I just had to call AAA and...
So we shot this, of course, on the third day, and Brandon Del Cid, who played Sebastian, who is a dear close friend of mine, recorded his part actually on our second day of shooting. I didn't hear his voice until we were in the editing room and we put it all together. Like, that was the first time I heard him as Sebastian, because we never got to actually act together. So sad. I was like so happy to put him in the film, and we weren't able to work together. We're like, next one.
Before you get kicked off unemployment? Yep.
Fun fact, we were stopped by the police when we were shooting this scene. We were questioned about the content of what we were shooting. And thankfully, Marilyn Flores, our first AD, was very quick thinking. I think that was on our third day of shooting. So it was just a couple of us. She was able to lead the police away from the shoot. Thank God for her. Oh my God, this chocolate moment, you guys. So we had the toothpaste moment in the opening and the chocolate moment in this scene. And when I was writing the script, I was going like back and forth. I'm like, do I write these in? It just makes things so much more complicated, like having to deal with wardrobe and props. And what I decided was yes, I needed them. I needed the theme. The chocolate does fall on the same side that it did the toothpaste on the blazer, so this blazer's just getting beat up today. The way that we worked around it was I made the executive decision just to buy 2 blazers. We did one take for that, like to open it, because I was like, we only have one take to get the chocolate on the blazer, and it was stressful. Like, we were all like, we're on a time crunch, as you always are, and you gotta get this chocolate in, you know, one shot, and then in post we ended up literally cutting it on the drop anyway, so it didn't even matter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, should I just hop on the bike? Or...
Fuck you!
That makes me laugh every time. Like, I literally watch the cut and it makes me laugh every time. Bryce Harrow, who played our hoodie man, absolutely killed it. He's a friend of mine as well. Did you catch that? That is the straw from Meg's soda that is pinned onto her blazer. We ordered that Jack in the Box like 10 minutes before we did the shot. I'm really glad that we were able to, because that was like a really fun bit that I wanted to make sure we got in.
If you didn't give birth to me, how old do you think I was?
This is a scene actually that we got in one take. Michelle actually shot on the patio of Meg's apartment. Like, that's where she shot her FaceTime footage. And I hadn't seen her at all either. So I was talking to a blank phone. I think we put her face on it so I could like talk to her. But I was being fed lines for her as well. And it was so hot in the car. This was shot in Canoga Park, right down the street from my parents' place. This is like my old neighborhood. Catherine Heath, who was our director of photography, sitting in the passenger seat shooting me. And then Ying Ding, who was our sound mixer, who was in the back, who had her boom like leaned over to me. Someone in the back seat who was literally behind me. Like, there were 4 of us crammed into this hot car. We could not turn the AC on for sound purposes. We didn't know what was going on outside. So it was crazy. So thankfully we got it all in the one take, and it worked.
Doing my best while living through living through.
So I wrote in the script that Meg, her mind is moving faster than her mouth, so she's garbling her words. And on the day, I actually have a stutter. What you see is actually, it was like a real Sam stutter in the moment. I had like practiced my garbling before we shot, but once we did it, it came out as a stutter. And I was like, you know what? That works. Little Sam had a really, really hard time with a really, really bad stutter. So honestly, like, acting helped me work through it because it forced me to think about what I was going to say before I said it. So it forced me to slow down a little bit. But yes, that was a real moment.
How did I?
Nadine Ortega did the makeup for the shoot, and she also did the bruise. And I kept getting freaked out because throughout the day I would see, I was like, oh, because I forgot I was there because it looked so real. It was really good. Can we just take in, again, this production design by Drea? She absolutely killed it. This was shot at the Guadalupe Center in Canoga Park, which is a Catholic charity center that helps kids and families. So they had these little tables and chairs in their preschool center that we asked to borrow. So we actually, these gray chairs you see, those were originally, there were 4 of them and then a wooden table, but we swapped them out for this kiddie table. And Kingston, Zalea, who plays Devin sitting next to me, is actually in a big chair, and then Meg is sitting in a little chair. That was intentional because out of all the chairs, Meg would definitely pick the tiniest chair.
Are you a famous painter?
When I tell you Kingston is a pro, this boy is a pro. It was super fun doing this scene with him because he actually couldn't read yet, so he just had all of his lines memorized. So he honestly was like showing me up because he did every take exactly the same. It was like seamless. Star.
Meg Fisher?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
So it didn't make it into the cut, but Meg, when she stands, she actually bumps the table and like the crayons scatter everywhere, which is something like just spatial awareness with ADHD. So there's a couple moments in here I'm like, should I do a like director's cut? Creator's cut? Well, I could probably do a writer's cut, a director's cut, the actor's cut. It's just like 10-minute long, just shots of just my face, just like emoting. It cut together great, but you know, fun fact. If you look closely, those say OPHS Film Festival winner, Samantha Labrecque. Those are the film trophies that I won in high school from creating short films that were in the high school's film festival, and they won. They're actually on the Vimeo page. They're embarrassing, but also I'm like proud of them. Come in waves. Like I feel like every other year I'm like, don't look at it. There's a lot of fidgeting in the film, obviously, and I fidget a lot naturally, which was really nice. I feel like I'm always kind of moving, because usually I have to tell myself to stop, but it was obviously encouraged for a lot of these shots, so that was nice. And that is the first place, 3rd grade spelling bee, Samantha Labrecque. These are actually pickup shots that we shot in my apartment. Like I said, we were on time crunch, so we didn't get a lot of inserts. Also, the costumes. I didn't even talk about Meg's outfit. She's in green. I always saw Meg in a green suit, and Jatan Holt, who was our costume designer, was able to find this awesome, they were separate, the blazer and the pants. So she of course got the 2 blazers that we swapped out for the chocolate stain.
It's a swan.
I always love, you know, Meg carries the painting with her the entire time. I always just love that as like proof of her qualifications and evidence of her passion. And it's sitting in the chair made me laugh every time. I just look over, I'm like, there's my little buddy.
Is there a reason for the employment gap here?
Rose London is the actress who's playing Mrs. Hazel, and she is the sweetest, you guys. She was cracking me up while we were shooting because I'm very all business on set. I kind of go into my little shell. So when I was in character for Meg in this scene, I was anxious and, you know, nervous. And Rose, she would just look at me. She's like, I wish I could hug you. You're so sad. I was like, no, Rose, no, you're too nice.
So...
I have ADHD.
A big difference I'll say between Meg and I that I really admire her for is her courage. There are a lot of moments like her standing up to Mrs. Hazel in this scene, and then her standing up to even Hoodie Man. Things that I wish I could have said to people in situations that I've been in like that. It was really fun playing her and doing those moments. She was just very like strong and just like, what do I have to lose? Like, what? Mind your damn business. Or like, this is me. I think we can all learn a little something from Meg.
I feel that this job would give me the opportunity to share
Come
with
on,
the
Mrs.
students
Hazel, give it a job.
what I've learned. Each of them.
What was really helpful about this scene, because it's very, you know, dialogue heavy, and I had a couple of monologues obviously in the film, was writing it. So I didn't have to memorize anything. Highly recommend. A big thing with sound in this scene, because I was holding that blue folder in my lap the entire time and fidgeting. Ying, she's just like, stop fidgeting. When the folder's out of the shot, and I was like, I can't. But I did, I had to. And I have not commented on the music yet in this video, but all of the music was created by Edith Mudge, our incredible composer, who actually has ADHD. She was such an amazing collaborator, and the music is so incredible in this. Mwah. Go watch the ADHD video. It's one of the other like bonus videos, because we really get into the nitty-gritty of the music and how she came up with the themes and what they were inspired by. Mwah, mwah, mwah. So good. Thank you for your time, Mrs. Hazel. Did I mention this was a coming to terms piece? Call back. Meg out. Okay, so this, I'm like laughing as Meg is crying. This is actually the final scene we shot on the second day. We did 2 takes. One was inside the car, that was the first take, and the second was the windshield shot. And we shot that crying scene, ooh, we let it roll. I went for probably a full minute. And that was after, I think I cried at the end of every shoot day, just from like elation that, you know, we did it, and I was just so like happy and overcome with emotion. But that was like a full minute, and I was laughing because in post, I was like, we can't put 7 seconds tops. We need to put this crying, we need to cut the rest. Shout out Craigslist. So this scene, like I said, like this is another like one taker. It's kind of crazy as we're talking about all these. When you're in time crunch, like this is the last thing that we shot on day 1. It was funny because we literally had trying team members hiding in the bathroom, in the bedroom, under the dining room table, like in the corner of the kitchen where you can't see. We had to move so quickly and like start like cleaning up in places where you couldn't see like out of the shot. It was chaos, honestly. So we just need to like get this final shot so we could like book it. She got it, yay! So fun, man, it's like crazy, like going through all that and realizing what we went through, because those 2.5 days were intense. We got to watch the pre-production videos so you can know what happened before we shot, and then, you know, our trying premieres afterwards. Those shooting days were crazy, and the trying team like really pulled through, killed it. Like I said, I think I literally cried at the end of each shoot day just because I was just so overwhelmed and so happy because it was happening. I was like, this is like my dream. Like, I love this story. Like, this crew is amazing. All these women on set just like killing it. And like, I love this character. I just felt so grateful. Like, it was really, really insane, but it was really great. So now you got a little behind the scenes to the making of the film Trying. We did it. Let's do the next one, y'all. Let's go.